Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, we are going to be on this next stage, right? You heard about me talking about the idea of what are brand archetypes, part one. This is part two of the video. So we're going to be rediscovering the idea of what are brand archetypes, but deep diving actually into the sections that I was actually previously talking to you about, right? So if you want to find out exactly what they were, please go ahead and check that video out. But before you get into that, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to my channel, hit that little ding bell so you do not miss out on any videos that I go ahead and upload. Because I'm very aware that, you know what, I've got amazing views, which is absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for your love and support. But now what I'd love you to do is to go ahead and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep boosting this channel, getting it out there to the people who actually need to be able to see it, understand it, and learn from it, from all that I share. And I'd love for you to be able to help me on that journey, folks. So please go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, hit that little ding bell, and let's get straight into this session. So as I said, we're going to be tackling part two of what are brand archetypes. Now, in this particular video, I want to literally just deep dive into two particular sections of what I previously spoke to you about, right, in part one. So now, without me faffing around or anything, pay close attention to it, get a notepad and pen out if you need to, but equally understand, especially if you're an existing brand, right? If these specific characteristics actually tie into what it is that you're about, tie into your values, align with your values, tap into it, because the reason why I want you to be able to understand these parts, right, especially when it comes to your brand archetype for yourself, is because, again, as always, you know, this is what I'm about. It's about the idea of building purposeful connections, right, with the audience that you actually want to work with. That's what's important. So we can talk to every and any average old Joe, but not everybody is for us. Not everybody is for our business, for our brand. So let's make sure that we are tackling and talking to the right people using the right kind of language by literally understanding what your brand archetype is. Okay. So let's get straight into it. We're going to be talking about number one point that I raised, which is the idea of providing structure. Now, these three particular points within this section, right, is understanding how each and every one of these brands are literally providing a service that allows for clear-cut direction, right? So let's dive into what that actually means, okay? So number one, again, let's look at the idea of the caregiver brand, okay? And see if this actually resonates with who you are, right? Each and every one of these points, see if they actually resonates with who you are. So when I'm talking about the idea of caregiver brand, right, I'm talking about the idea of the brand that literally puts themselves on behind others, you know, so puts other people's first. That's what I'm trying to say. And it literally gives that service. They're very giving, very kind in that respect. And they're literally all about the idea of making sure that they're kind and warm and loving, and, you know, so you can be able to come to them for anything that you need, right? They're all about providing that genuine connection. You know, again, I always talk about this, right? But funny enough, this isn't actually my particular archetype. And actually, let's see if you actually understand what my archetype should be as well. Let's have a little game, shall we? I'm going to tell you what it is by the end of part three. However, I want you to understand, what do you think it is for me? But equally, what is it for yourself? You know, are you a caregiving brand? Okay, so typical characters that I want you to sort of think about, and I'm going to be getting you to envisage characters, by the way, because it just simply helps you to visualize or give your brand an actual face to be able to match it against, right? But typical things I want you to think about, especially when it comes to caregiver, think about Mother Teresa, right? Mother Teresa, the all ultimate caregiving person, you know, anybody who has that kind of characteristic will typically be that caregiving person. Also, in terms of brands, you know, existing brands that are out there right now, think about WWF, UNICEF, a lot of charity brands, a lot of brands who are literally about the caregiving attitude. Think about P&G, think about Volvo, the family brand, right? It's all about nurturing in that respect. Think about as well, over here we have the brand John Lewis in the UK. I can't remember if John Lewis has gone international. I'm pretty sure it has, but, you know, FYI, check out John Lewis. but it's all about the family brand. It's all about making sure that, you know what, every family has these really super cool gadgets, but a way to be able to give that service, a way to be able to be nurturing, be kind, be warming. You know, there's all these different characteristics. So think about what that could be for yourself. So the next section that I want you to think about is the idea of ruler, right? And when I talk about ruler, I'm talking about the idea of the brand which desires command, which desires the idea of directness, sets the rules, sets the tone, right? They're the one who sets the look and feel as to how everything should be, right? They're the ones who are actually enforcing law or even desiring that level of control, you know? So think typically about the idea of the Godfather, you know, what a character in itself, right? But that person who you wouldn't probably think twice at looking at. However, the amount of control that this person has is amazing in the sense where it goes further than what you think, right? But it's the idea of that demand. It's the idea of setting the tone. This is how I laid down the law, and this is what I want you to do with that law, right? Typical brands to think about is the idea of Mercedes, you know, the idea of Rolex, the idea of Amex even as well. These particular brands are always the idea of bringing about the idea of eliteness. You know, you're a part of a specific club that not everybody can get into, you know? So think about, again, what that could be for your brand. Is that your brand? Do you match those particular characteristics? Think about that. So now here we are in the first little part of this first section, and that's looking at the idea of creator, right? So when it comes to the brand archetype, it's understanding how does a creator fit into your sort of categories, your characteristics. So now if you're a brand who typically is all about creativity, it's all about the design, it's all about the idea of looking at something that may be to some other people at face value, it is what it is. However, if you're able to just go below that surface level and find out all these other little details that nobody would ever sort of think twice about looking for, that's something to really think about. That's something to be really understood and to be able to appreciate, right? Especially as a creator brand. And typical of this kind of characteristic, think about the idea of Willy Wonka, right? That character who's very a bit crazy at times. However, I like to call them the creative scientists, right? So forever just deep diving into certain things, seeing how it can work potentially for them, right? Think about how it could be for you. Are you a creator brand? You know, are you a creator brand which literally deep dives into the idea of helping others, but in a different kind of a way that allows them to see something that's different? It allows them to think outside the box, you know? Do you have a Willy Wonka mindset? Obviously, you know, to a certain degree, in a respective kind of degree, but you know what I mean, you know what I'm getting at. Typical brands to be thinking of as well are the idea of Apple. Apple, one of the most influential creative brands out there, right? Lego, you know, YouTube is another one that, you know, this beautiful platform that you're seeing me on right now. The other different platforms or the other different brands that are out there that will allow creativity to be the forefront of what it is and why it is that they do. So use straplines as well to be able to establish what type of brand they are, right? What type of brand archetype they actually match when you're looking at external brands. And equally, again, for yourself, if you've got a strapline for a slogan, by the way, go ahead and watch that video if you need a bit of clarification as to what a slogan or strapline actually is. If you've got one already, think about what the words are that you're actually using. Do they actually match the idea of the creator? Do they actually match the idea of the ruler or the caregiver, right? Think about what that could actually be and use that to your advantage. That was all pertaining to the idea of providing structure. So we had the caregiver, the ruler, we had also the creator as well, right? So think about what they were, what those characteristics were, who those specific characters are as well, and how that could actually match your own brand, okay? Because again, once you think about how or what it is that they do, think about what it is that you do equally, and now think about how you can actually connect properly with your audience. by using specific languages. If you understand that you're a giving service, well, then you're going to understand how to say, do you know what? I'm here for you. I've got your back. All these different languages will help to literally switch up the way a person starts thinking about you and your brand. Okay, so the next 3 sections that we're going to be having a look at, obviously this pertains to the idea of the spiritual brand, right? Or literally exploring spirituality. So the first part within this section, looking at the idea of innocent brand, right? Now, when we think about the innocent brand, we're looking at the idea of just think about the way how nature intended it to be. Think about the way the naturalness of something, the literally just stripping it back to basics. The way, I guess with this particular brand, it's all about literally going into nature, just thinking about the vast outdoors, right? Typical brands for this, or even let's go straight to the character, it's Maria from The Sound of Music. One of my loves of that video. I do love The Sound of Music. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyway, so yes, think about Maria from The Sound of Music, right? She is very about stripping it back to basics. She's not about all the glitz and the glam type of thing. So think about other characters, you know, that are out there as well. Typical brands to sort of think about are the idea of the Body Shop, you know, even Aveeno. These are all about sustainable brands, sustainability. So thinking about rights to the ways of nature, you know, anything to right the world, anything to put the world to back to its as it is intended. So think about that, what that could be. So now we have Sage. Sage, I'm laughing at this one because Sage is the cool one that understands the idea of wisdom, where wisdom comes from. It's all about the knowledge giver. It's all about the teacher. It's all about the idea of, you know what, you come with me and I will take you here. You know, it's all about moving forwards in that respect. And yeah, when knowledge is given, the Sage brand, it thrives. You know, when knowledge is shared, the Sage brand stands all the more taller because they've shared that. You know, typical characters to think about are a character that I actually quite love is Yoda. You know, think about Yoda, the way how he's always forever humbly giving knowledge to all those Jedis who are happy to go to him, find him out, seek him out, and listen to him. You know, that's another characteristic as well. Anybody who comes to you seeks you out. That's a typical thing, right, of this knowledge giver, of this Sage brand. And equally, going on the idea of brand, existing brands that are out there, let's get straight to it. It's Google, right? Any kind of platform that allows you to search for knowledge, any kind of brand that allows you or gives you knowledge. I guess you could sort of also think about outside the box a little bit, when you look at publishing houses or editing houses as well, brands that typically divulge into that, newspapers, you know, the Telegraph that we have over here, the Guardian, all that kind of stuff. Could be classed as Sage brands. Typical coaches as well. Coaches, a lot of coaches, whether they're well-being coaches, whatever kind of coach they may be, they could also be Sage brands as well. So any kind of knowledge giver, any kind of trendsetter that allows their audience to be able to get all of what they need out from them, those are Sage brands, right? And I'm pretty sure you're thinking, Tan, surely every business is a Sage brand, but in actual fact, no, it's not. So there's different levels of giving knowledge, right? So if your brand is all about knowledge, then you are a Sage brand. If your brand, however, is about knowledge, however, you're all about the excitement, you're all about the creativity, think about what I spoke about earlier, you could be a creator brand, you know? There's different aspects. If you're all about the adventure, you know, you could be that explorer brand. So think about that. What is it for you? And I actually kind of like gave the game away a little bit as to what this next part of the brand is when it comes to the spiritual journey. It is the explorer brand, right? So now, as much as it's all about finding adventure, seeking adventure, or even giving adventure, right? Taking their customer, their clients, their the person on this journey, right? This is spiritual journey. It's all about finding the new. It's all about discovering the new. It's all about taking this adventure to a whole new level. And a typical character that we can think about is the idea of Indiana Jones. Hello, my goodness me. You could also think maybe 007 as well, but he seeks adventure on a whole different kind of a level. But at the same time, it's all about seeking adventure. It's all about going on an adventure to find this new thing, this new goal, the truth, if you like, you know. Typical brands to think about in this day and age. You can look at the idea of Discoverer or Range Rover. You can look at the idea of Jeep as well. You know, a lot of those 4x4 brands, I guess. Those 4x4 brands, I say 4x4 brands, the cars, the car brands, any kind of like rustic or any kind of rustic kind of brand that takes on the explorer characteristics, they're quite cool to look at. So go ahead and check that out equally. And again, think about what it is for yourself. Are you the adventurer? Also travel brands, you know, travel brands. So think about Expedia, think about, what do we have? Trivago. There's also a new brand, depending on when you're actually listening to this video, a brand called Journey. Now, Journey, if you haven't heard of it before, it literally allows the person to book a holiday not knowing where they are going. It is strictly about adventure. It's strictly about trialing something new. And it's strictly about the idea of taking this person on a new adventure. So what is that for yourself, folks? And I really want you to think about that. I've shared a hell of a lot so far, and there's still more to come. But again, go back, replay this if you need to. If I've touched base on something that's really resonated with you, think about what it could be for yourself. Think about how you can take your own brand to this next level that allows you to connect with your audience in a way that makes sense to them, right? And equally makes sense to you as well. So folks, go ahead and check that out. As always, you know I've got a gift for you at the end of this video, and it is from me to you. It's my guide. I want to be able to share this specifically with you because it allows you to deep dive into your own brand once again, but equally to establish how you can make those better connections, how you can actually make sure that your message is staying congruent to you, your values, and your brand, and what it is that you stand for. So go ahead and check it out. Click on the link that's in the description box below. Find out even more about it, and equally reach out to me because I'd love to hear from you. And let's have a conversation as to how we can actually take your brand from where it is right now and equally where you want it to go to. Folks, that is it. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel and hit that little ding bell so that you do not miss out on any other ones. And I will see you in part 3 of what is a brand archetype in the next video. See you on the other side.